So here, because this is one of the functions that confuses some students, I added some descriptions to comments here. And I want to go over this here with you guys. So we focus on substring index, what you can use in MySQL. So substring index function returns a substring of a string before a specified number of a delimiter occurs. So that sounds very convoluted and confusing for some of you, I suppose. So it's different than the one we just did, which is just substring, where you just say, get me from position X and give me length Y, and that's it. Here, you maybe don't know where the position is, the starting position is, right, of the substring you want to get from the string. So let's go over the syntax and explain what the arguments mean and therefore how this function works. So substring index, again, the first parameter, the first argument, you'll hear me using these words interchangeably, parameter, argument, is string. The second is delimiter, the third is number. Now here's the description. All three are required arguments. Because some functions can have a varying number of arguments. Here, none of these three are optional. So the string, that's straightforward. That's the textual column you're dealing with. Delimiter, the delimiter to search for. So this can be any single character. So something that kind of separates your string in a certain way. So that can be a space, a comma, a dot, a semicolon, anything depending on what your business logic is, what you're searching for. Now, the number is the number of times to search for the delimiter. So let's say you have a big string and it has several commas in it, and you want your delimiter to be a comma. So do you want to get the string? Okay, let's give a simpler example. Let's say you're dealing with a full name and you have first name, middle name, last name. Of course, they're probably separated by a space. So you have two spaces, right? And if you want to just get the first name, so you would put the full name here, you would put the delimiter here, you would put under parentheses space. If you just want to get the first name, the number you would put is 1, because you are looking for the first occurrence of the delimiter. So that tells substring index, as soon as you see the first, as soon as you find the first space, give me the substring there, right? So if you put like a full name here, space here, 1 here, you'll get the first name. However, if you just change the number to 2, the number is how many times you look for the delimiter. It will search for the second occurrence of the space. So your substring will now contain first name and middle name. All right. Now, this works if you use a positive number. So 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. It works from left to right. So you're getting a substring, a part of the string up to the delimiter, reading from the left. However, if you do everything the same and just put a minus before your number, you use a negative number, it'll do the same thing, but it will look for the substring to the right, like reading it from the right. So in an example where you're dealing with a full name, that's first name, middle name, last name, and you put the same string, the same delimiter, and you put -1 here. I actually want to test your understanding so far. Who'll tell me what part of that string you will get if you put -1 and the delimiter is a space? See something in the chat.
last one?
Who was that? I heard just a female voice, but yeah.
That's Angelina.
Angelina.
I think
yes, you would get the last
mm-hmm.
name. You would get the last name because reading the full name, which is first name, middle name, last name, from the right, if you put -1, you would get just the last name. If you put -2, you would get middle name and last name. So like once you figured it out, it's not that complicated. Right. Let me see. I just want to share with you guys here this. If anyone wants to share this in chat, if anyone wants to copy it somewhere, it's still in the format of comments, but all right. So let's see our practice question. Practice question is to retrieve the customer name.
Before we go, may I ask a quick question?
Yes,
do you know
Vincent.
if the delimiter has to be a single character, or can it be multi-character?
Let's test it. I honestly think it can be multi-character.
Okay, thank you.
Usually it isn't in use cases, but we'll test this. Like I'll solve this problem and then we can play around with it. I'm pretty sure you can include multiple characters, but that's a great question. I just haven't used that in that way, but I think it's possible. All right, so we have just one table, customers. We need their name and their email domain. And it says use substring index. I just want to explore this table to see what the email domain is. So we have just email here. You can imagine what that normally looks like. Just want to comment this out. Oops. No spoilers. All right. So let's just see the from customers. Kevin, can you admit people if you're still here so I can run this? All right, so I want to show you the table. Okay, I selected everything, not a good idea, but this is what an email looks like, typical. An email domain is just what a website usually looks like, something.com. Normally, whatever is after the @ or monkey symbol, however you call it, and we can verify that in the expected output, right? So this is the substring we want to get, and these are the strings we will be dealing with, right? So we want to eliminate everything after the monkey symbol. So we can use the monkey as the delimiter, right? But another thing we need to do to get the domain, because the domain is on the right to the delimiter that we're going to use, we need to use a negative number as the third parameter right here. And that's going to be -1 because there's only one occurrence of the monkey symbol. And of course, the substring, the string we're going to use is email, and the delimiter we're going to use is @. That's all for this one. So what does it require? Name and email domain. And as email domain. So we make use of the substring index. The string we're dealing with is email. The delimiter we're dealing with is at, and we are looking for the first and only occurrence of it, but we want the substring looking from the right up to the delimiter, so we're using a negative number because positives are for the regular left to right. Okay, we got the right one. So one thing, because we know all of these email domains are example.com, I just want to test the instance question and include E here. So we should probably get example.com with this. Yep, so it works. So the delimiter doesn't have to be a single character. It usually is, though, in any real-world use cases. Any questions around substring index? So do you need to use substring? Do you need to use substring index? Depends on your familiarity with the data, what you need to get out of it, what you know about the data. Like, do you have a specific, for example, these could have been different email domains. We therefore wouldn't know, we wouldn't want to set their length by using substring, and we probably also wouldn't know the starting position because the username, right, length can vary, so we don't know where the domain, the first character of the domain in that whole string is, neither how long the domain may be. But if you're dealing with emails, you know they have to have this. This is standard, and so this is a very versatile use case for fetching email domains, regardless of the length of the domains and regardless of the length of the username.